I think the first thing that I always think about is know your kid, right? I say this over and over again, but if you have an extroverted kid or an introverted kid, it makes a big difference in how they meet people and connect with friends.
Let's just say they are introverted, and perhaps you think, it's not going to be easy for my child to go up and make new friends on their own. Is there a way you can help, or do you have to cross your fingers at some point and say, well, they might be okay?
That's always parenting, right? Crossing our fingers, hoping for the best. Introverted kids don't need a lot of friends, right? They need one or two. So sometimes I think we need to get over the idea that more friends is better. Understanding that introverted kids may take longer to warm up to people, so they need opportunities with repeated people over time. Whereas extroverted kids might do good with like big play dates or sport clubs or things like that. So setting up play dates where they have repeated opportunity to get to know somebody slowly.
I would imagine teachers would have a good gauge as to what maybe a specific child needs just spending all day with the students. I mean, is that a good resource?
Teachers are great resources. Oftentimes if your kiddo is complaining about not having friends, first of all, sometimes they come home complaining about not having friends and you ask the teacher and the teacher says they play with tons of people.
Right. What are you talking about?
So checking in is a really good thing to do with the teacher. And then teachers often can pair up kids and they can encourage that in the classroom and also encourage parents to connect outside of the class.
Yeah, maybe that seating chart can be adjusted a bit to help the kids out. Also, I think after school activities are a great opportunity for kids because they're paired with kids who might be like-minded and enjoy the same things.
Right, they have similar interests. They're often smaller groups. They're often quieter and less chaotic than the course of the day or the playground, which can be really hard, especially on introverted kids. And they have repeated contact. With the shyer kids or the introverted, we really have to push them for that repeated contact so that they can grow those relationships slowly, because they're not going to just jump in, make friends, and then they're off to go.
Do you think the strategy's changed at all if you're talking about an older child? Now, maybe you're moving to a new neighborhood. Maybe it's a 7th grader, an 8th grader, 9th grader who's walking into a new school, doesn't know anyone. Do we approach that differently than we're talking about like the kindergartner who may be entering a new environment?
For sure. If you try to set up a play date for your 9th grader, it's not going to work. I think especially as our kids get older, we need to kind of move out and help from behind the scenes, supporting them through conversations at home, really trying to find out what they need and what they're thinking is way more important than getting in there and doing like we like to do for our kindergartners.
That's kind of your point. Don't helicopter too much. Stay out of it. So how do you find that middle ground, though, to where you're not getting too involved, but you're overseeing enough?
Right. I think we have to look within ourselves. A lot of times when we're trying to negotiate our children's friendships, we're trying to heal our own childhoods, right? And it's really about us and our memories, and we really have to pull that apart, because at the end of the day, our kids have to go through this development. They have to learn social negotiation and how to interact with their peers, and they have to kind of learn that on their own, and we can't do that for them.
We can, however, draw from our own childhood. I mean, I moved here in middle school, which was a brutal time to move, but my parents encouraged me to try activities I'd never tried before, drama, gymnastics, and that was sort of my salvation. And so they didn't helicopter it, but they sort of set it up.
Right, and that's those conversations in the background, right? The quiet conversations at dinner or at night where we encourage our kids to open up about what's going on for them, what they need, and then kind of being open to problem solving with them and giving them those suggestions rather than kind of doing it for them or assuming there's a problem and maybe they don't have a problem. Maybe they're fine with one friend. We think they need 10.
Yeah, I always say it's the quality, not the quantity.
Yes.
Because
So true.
you can have one friend and they're the best friend in the world.
Yep.
Should I feel guilty that I tend to try to push my kids towards other children whose parents I like hanging out with?
Oh, that's the best, right? Like, makes our lives so much easier.
This always turns into a counseling session through somehow
What don't you
with
like
Dr.
about
Darcy.
Johnny? His parents are fantastic. They're cool to hang out
They
with.
serve a mean margarita. Come on.
Why don't you like him?
Yeah,
Dr. Darcy Walker, I guess
I think she was about to give me some
yeah,
advice.
Yeah, you're gonna, go ahead. Go
That
ahead.
will take
I
too
was
long.
going to say that we lose that control somewhere around 1st or 2nd grade, right? Where the play dates are actually about the kids playing and
So you're
connecting.
past that.
Well, we're kind of keeping it
through
going
that.
through 4th grade so far.
Dr. Darcy Walker with Core Parenting, thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for being
Thanks
here
for having
today.
me.
Appreciate the advice.